If you're stuck using the same basic sampling techniques as everyone else, your beats will sound basic too. So if you want to make beats that stand out and are at a higher level, you need better sampling methods. That's why today I'm going to show you a sampling technique that you can start using right away. It's simple to do and it can help you sample in a creative way, just like the greats. It's called the note flip. The Neptunes, Pharrell and Chad Hugo, use this in many of their greatest beats, and today I'm gonna show you how it works. And to do this, you only need to follow 3 simple steps. The first step you can do in a matter of seconds. The second step is simple to do as well, but the third is a key detail that will help your beats actually sound good by the end, so don't skip this. So what are these 3 steps? Well, let me show you by sharing a few of the Neptunes' greatest beats that all use the note flip technique, and let's see if you can pick up on what this method might be. Beat number 1 is What Happened to That Boy by The Clips.
Another soul lost, had to make it sure.
Beat number 2 is Super Thug by Nori.
Phrases, roll dice with no aces. Now let's include.
And beat number 3 is Knock Yourself Out by Jada Kiss.
Your head down. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Are you ready to move?
Alright, so let's break down these beats to see how the note flip method works, and I'll even make a beat using this method to show you exactly how to do this at the exact same time. Now to start, this sampling technique is probably different than what you're used to. When most producers think of sampling, they picture using full songs off of vinyl or YouTube, chopping them up and using them to make a full beat. But that's just one way of sampling. Another is to take a simple sound, whether it be from a record or even a stock keyboard, and sampling this to make an entire beat idea. But what you might be thinking is, how is this even sampling? Isn't this the exact same as just using a plugin or making a beat with a modern day VST? Well, here's the difference. If we go into a typical VST that modern beatmakers use, including myself, and we play a single note here, nothing unusual so far. Next, if we play this at multiple different keys, we get what sounds like a normal instrument playing multiple keys. But what if we did something unusual here? What if we take a single note of this exact sound and record it like this? And then we use this to play the exact same pattern. Let's take a listen to what happens. Again, this is the regular pattern coming from a VST. And here is the pattern using the single sampled note. It sounds different than how the regular VST sounds, almost like a less realistic version of the same sound. And this is the core idea behind the note flip. Many modern VSTs are built by recording someone literally playing every single note, so you can replicate what sounds like a real instrument played by an actual person. But if we just sample one of these notes and use that as our instrument and play it at multiple different notes, it can create an entirely different and unique sound or feel to the beat. This is the core of the note flip technique that the Neptunes mastered. If we take this one single guitar sample, I can recreate the exact pattern from Super Thug with the exact matching tone. And so this is the first step of doing this technique. Sample a single note. Now, whether you want to do this by going into a VST and sampling this yourself, or you want to find a single note from a vinyl record, or you just want to use a stock one-shot, it's up to you. But the key is to use a sample of a single note. For my beat, I'm going to grab this guitar one-shot here. Bonus tip, try doing some subtle manipulation to the sound to get it to sound even more different than the typical sound coming from a VST. For this sound, if I ignore the beginning part of this guitar and isolate just this end part here, I can use this as the single note for my beat. But now comes the part of building the actual pattern using the sound. And this is where we move on to step 2. If we jump back into the beats by the Neptunes, you'll notice a common theme with the patterns that they build when using this sampling technique. For example, if we look at the pattern for What Happened to That Boy again, or if we jump over to Knock Yourself Out, you notice that these patterns are not very musical. The range that these notes play in are often within just one octave, and this is the theme in many of the Neptunes beats. We don't see them using these sounds like a normal instrumentalist would, playing the sample across a wide range of notes to create a musical pattern. So why is this? Well, the further away you play your note from the original pitch it was recorded in, the more bizarre this will sound. Now, while this might help you create some cool textures for sound design, it's not going to sound the greatest if you try to use this one sound to create a highly musical pattern for your beat. So that is why step 2 is to build a musically simple pattern. For my beat, I'm only going to use a few notes that all sit in a narrow range on the keyboard. And now we move on to the final step. This is the key detail that you should think about when you use this technique. At this point, your beat probably won't sound all that full. Again, since we're limited with just a handful of keys to make our loop, we probably won't be able to make anything that sounds like a complete and full idea. And this is why you'll notice with many of the Neptune's beats, they're full of unique rhythms and unusual sounds that play along with this single note sample. With our beat, so far we only have this one simple pattern. So let's grab an unusual sound. And I'm going to use this to bring a unique rhythm into my beat, helping my beat sound much more full and much more unique. Even if I use a more straightforward sound like a hi-hat, I can still use this as an opportunity to do something just a little bit different. And instead of creating a straightforward pattern like this, I'll do something like this. And now with a few more layers and some drums, we have ourselves a beat. And this is the final step that will help you turn this into a complete beat, to fill up space with unique rhythms and textures. Now, if you're a fan of the Neptunes, I do have a full video where I break down Pharrell's beat making techniques, so click this if you're interested. But if you just want to learn more sampling techniques overall, this one next to me is one of my more popular videos. So click one of these, like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the next video that you will select right here.